still gaining weight after menopause, this changes everything. I was eating under 2,000 calories a day. I was exercising and doing everything I had always done. And I was still gaining weight every single year through menopause and beyond. And I could not figure out why. I want to talk to you today about what was actually happening in my body and what I changed that finally made 25 pounds come off in under 3 months. Not by eating less, but by finally understanding something that nobody had ever taught me. And if you're doing everything right and still not seeing results, this might be the most important thing you watch this year. For years, my weight just kept creeping up, slowly, but enough that I stopped recognizing myself. And the more I gained, the smaller my life got. For real. I even started wearing all black all the time. And the reason is that it just felt safe. My daughter actually said to me one day, "Mom, I'd really love to see you wear something other than black." And that really hit me because she was right. I was hiding. I avoided photos, I avoided mirrors, and I even stopped going to the beach, even though I lived just down the road from the ocean. I also have a pool, and I bought my house partly because of it, because of how it made me feel just to look at it, and for all the nostalgic memories it brought back to me. Because as a kid, I basically lived in the water all summer. You know, that feeling of freedom and joy and not a care in the world. I wanted that for my family. And then one summer, I stopped going in our pool altogether. I just sat, covered up, and watched everyone else enjoy it. I honestly thought this was just my new normal, and I reluctantly accepted that this was just what getting older looked like. And then something happened that I will never forget. At the time, my daughter was Miss New Jersey Teen USA, and at the final show during her last walk across the stage as a title holder, I was asked to come on stage and present her with flowers. There were 1,000 people in that audience and thousands more watching online, and suddenly there was nowhere to hide. I did it for her, of course, but when I saw myself in the recorded broadcast afterward, I was stunned. That was the moment I realized I couldn't keep shrinking my life. I wanted to show up again. And I had no idea that the answer was sitting in my breakfast. Here's the thing I want to tell you, because I think a lot of you are going to relate to this. During the years I was gaining weight, I was also carrying the weight of the world. My kids were teenagers, and there was dance practice every day and volleyball tournaments and sleepless nights worrying about all the things that teenagers get into. And my parents were also aging and needed more of me. And then my son graduated from high school and joined the Army. We are not a military family, and I had no idea where he got the inspiration, but somehow it was in his blood. He's flying Black Hawk helicopters now in a combat unit, and I will just say that one almost sent me right over the edge. For years, I was last on my own list. Everything I had pretty much went somewhere else, and I didn't even notice I had disappeared until the noise finally settled. And when it did, I realized I needed to do something for me, something that was mine. And that's what finally pushed me to look more closely at what was actually happening in my own body. So I started paying attention, not to calories, because I was already doing that anyway, but to how my body was actually responding to what I ate. And what I found, I want to make sure you really hear this, completely changed everything I thought I knew. Because here's what nobody told us. And I say us because we grew up in the same fad diet generation. We were raised on low-fat everything, 1,200 calorie diets, and the idea that if you just eat a little bit less and move a little bit more, then the weight will come off. And that was the best science we had at the time. But it's not the whole story, not even close, because it left out the most important piece, and that's how our hormones affect the way food works in our bodies, especially after menopause. So here's what's actually happening when the weight won't move. Even when you're eating light and even when you're doing everything right. It's not all about the calories, it's about your blood sugar. I want you to sit with that for a second, because this is what changes everything when you figure it out. It's not about the calories, it's about your blood sugar. So let's talk about that. When you eat something that's mostly carbs like cereal or a muffin or bagel, or even things that are labeled healthy, your body breaks it down fast. Your blood sugar shoots up and your body pumps out insulin to pull it back down. And when it crashes, you're hungry again, tired and craving more carbs. And this is the part that connects all the dots. When your body is experiencing a blood sugar spike, you are storing fat, not burning it, even if what you ate was low calorie. Shocking, right? And after menopause, those swings hit even harder. Our hormones no longer buffer them the way that they used to. So that breakfast that worked at 35 is probably working against you now. This is not a willpower problem. It's a biology problem. And once I understood this, everything started to make sense for the first time in years. So here's what I did. The first thing I changed was my breakfast, because what you eat first sets the tone for your entire day. My mornings used to start with coffee at 5 a.m. and by 8 o'clock I was starving. Breakfast was something like cereal or toast, but nothing heavier, nothing I thought was that bad. But 2 hours later, I was hungry again. I ate lunch by 11, usually a small sandwich and a few chips or something like that. And then dinner was whatever I made for my family. And maybe something small and sweet in the evening, like a little cookie or a little frozen yogurt, but literally nothing extreme. And in my mind, I was eating light and I was eating right, yet I was still gaining weight. So I stopped starting my day with carbs and I built my breakfast around protein and healthy fat instead. Things like eggs with avocado or Greek yogurt with nuts or cottage cheese with peanut butter and fruit, or my favorite, my superfood protein smoothie, which I'll show you how to make in an upcoming video. All of these had more fat and calories than what I was eating before, more. And the difference was almost immediate. I stayed full for hours and my energy was steady, and I stopped thinking about food all morning because the foods I was eating now kept me satisfied in a way my old diet never could. And the weight started coming off quickly. The power of that small change is truly incredible. Because when your blood sugar isn't spiking and crashing all day, your body can finally stop storing fat and start releasing it. This is not a diet in the traditional sense. It's about working with your body instead of against it. And here's what I want you to know, because I think this part might surprise you. I still eat carbs. I still eat bread and pasta and all the things I love. What changed is that I now understand how and when to eat them so they don't sabotage me anymore. It's not about depriving yourself of the foods you enjoy. It truly isn't. It's about knowing what's going on inside your body and making choices from that place instead of guessing. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in the video I'm linking at the end of this one. And here's what I want you to understand, because this part really surprised me. When the weight started coming off, it wasn't just the number on the scale that changed. I got my life back. I went back to my pool and I went back to the beach. September where I live is what the locals call local summer. The crowds are gone and the weather is perfect and the ocean is warm with these shallow and beautiful tide pools. And I had avoided it for years, but no more. I also started taking my camera with me everywhere I went, just for the fun of it, just for me. Gets me outside and gets me walking and gets me some sunlight, which, by the way, also matters for your metabolism and your mood, more than most people realize. I finally stopped hiding, and I want that for you too. Not just the weight loss, the life. Because here's what I figured out. So many of us spent years doing for everyone else, right? And somewhere in there, a lot of us stopped doing for ourselves. Understanding what food does in your body now, that's yours. That's something no one can take away. And it's so much simpler than anyone ever told us. And that's why I'm doing something on this channel that I haven't seen anyone else do quite like this. I test everyday foods on myself using a glucose monitor and share the results, so you can actually see what those foods do in a real woman's body in midlife, in real time. Not a study, not a theory, but my actual data. I've already tested oatmeal and toast, and I tested smoothies too. My homemade version versus what you'd grab at a convenience store versus a popular health food chain. And the results are truly eye-popping. A lot of the foods we've been told are healthy are doing exactly what I just described to your blood sugar and your weight every single day. So everyone's body is a little different, and my results aren't meant to replace your own experience, but they can give you a starting point and a whole lot more clarity than trying to figure this out alone. I didn't fix this by eating less or trying harder. I changed what and how I eat, and I started paying attention to what my body was actually telling me. And something as simple as oatmeal is one of those foods that almost every woman in midlife thinks is a safe choice. And here's the thing, it can be. But the way most of us eat it can be the reason the scale isn't moving for you. I'll link that video at the end, because once you see what it actually does to your blood sugar and how one small little change affects that result, you'll understand exactly what I mean. And then tell me in the comments, what food do you want me to test next? I'll see you there.